Let's go over to the United Kingdom, where we have a couple of Kenyans there who also got a chance to vote today. Lucas Kamau, the chair of the Kenya Community Council, Esther Tiras, a lawyer, Tyrus Jenga, a businessman, and Janet Wainaina as well. And we should be having them up on the screen in just a bit. I hope they can hear me as well. And I know that there was quite some excitement in the UK. I saw the Kenyan Commissioner to the United Kingdom giving instructions on the same. And I don't know who I'll start with. Lucas, maybe I start with you. What was your voting experience like today? Lucas, if you can hear me, or Janet? Okay, I think you need to unmute your microphone. Just unmute and have a go at that question again.
We have unmuted. Can you hear us now?
Now we can hear you loud and clear. Greetings from Kenya.
Fantastic. Yes.
Fantastic. Yes, today we had a brilliant day down here in London. We had our first time of voting here in the United Kingdom. We are excited here. As you can hear the background noise, we are still counting the votes, and people are listening to, are watching what is happening down in Kenya, and we are all excited about this election today, being our first election to happen in the United Kingdom.
I know you're not IBC officials, but at this hour, you're still counting the votes. How crowded was the polling station or polling center that you voted at?
Well, we've left in the polling station, but we are off the polling station at the moment. But by the time we left the first polling station, we had counted the votes, and it's looking good here in the UK.
It's looking good. Okay, walk us through there's been a concern here about voter turnout. First of all, voter registration there. What was it like? I've just spoken to a gentleman who spends most of his time in the States, and he was a bit disappointed with how Kenyans turned up and also the amount of time IBC spent in the States registering voters. Did you share the same concerns?
I do share the same concerns, and I echo his concerns, because in the United Kingdom, when we first started registrations, we were only allowed to use the passport in the first instant. But after the court ruling, then we went on to the IDs, where we only had 2 days to register with our IDs. So it was slow in the beginning, but in the end, then we pushed that numbers up. That's why UK managed to push the numbers up to 723.
Or 723. Let's talk about also what happened today, the KEEMS kit. What was the experience of the voters there with that device here? Well, the IBC says it's only 200 out of the 46,000 KEEMS kits that had challenges. Any challenges reported on that end?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Esa. So yes, we did have a lot of challenges with the KEEMS kit. Actually, when I was in the queue, there was a lady in front of me who took almost 15 minutes for her fingerprints to be able to register on the KEEMS kit. And at that point, I did ask, isn't there like a manual register which we can use or something? Because she clearly had registered on time, and her details were there. But the fact that the queue was kept on growing. And I'll tell you, I'll be very honest with you, people in the diaspora, when they plan, they'll come for 1 hour. It has to be 1 hour. It's not 1 hour, 5 minutes, because we do have a lot of things. So you when you say you're going to be there for 1 hour, you have to. So you expect the queue to actually move in a very systematic manner. But when you're having a delay with the kits, and like there's just a hiccup here and there, it turns people off. Which also it's quite reflective on the number of votes that have been cast today. It's not that the people are not there. It's only that, the queue is too long. There's this and this issue. Somebody will go back home, or people will go back to work because they had a limited time period that they had to be there. So yes, we did have issues. I did see one who was in front of me, and I think in future, I do understand that the manual register is a really big issue because of the rigging. But I think let's find another system that is acceptable to all the parties involved in the election, and which is actually easier. I accept we are going into a new generation, a more IT sort of generation, but let's find something that can work best for everyone. That would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Wow. And because of your experience, how long then did you spend at your polling station? And on average, how long were people... Yeah, go ahead.
Luckily for me, I took, 5 minutes or less.
5 minutes.
When I used my fingerprints, my name came up, and I voted before. It wasn't my first time to vote, so I knew exactly what to do. I didn't need to ask the questions of how long should the X or the tick be there, what should I do. So yeah, kind of took 5 minutes or less, to be honest.
Okay, wow. Before I allow my colleagues to jump in on, do you guys have the numbers, how many Kenyans live in the UK? Just for us to understand what the potential would be if a majority of them were registered. What kind of constituency would that offer in a future election?
Yes, we have got over 300,000 Kenyans living in the UK. But as I said earlier, the registration was slow because of ID and passport issues. So going forward, I believe 2027, we are going to make a difference in the elections coming.
Wow, very confident there. Vicky, I know you've been listening. Any thoughts to our Kenyans in the States and in the UK?
Certainly, though, I think the lady in red wanted to make mention of something.
Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to add something and to say, like, when diaspora was told they can vote, most people did not trust that it's going to happen. So it took us a lot of time to actually convince Kenyans to get out and go and register to vote. And when that happens and they agreed to register to vote, then we had a problem with most of them. Their national, their Kenyan passport was, expired, and they had to think about, we can't renew the passport within this time. So when they were told they can use the ID, so we had to use our media to make sure that we call out the numbers. That distrust was still there. Is the Kenyan system going to work? Is the Kenyan government going to have all my documents? Are they going to know everything about me? So there was a lot of distrust with the diaspora. But what we are looking at right now, after the process of what happened today, we had a lot of good, as much as there was those hiccups, a lot of people had a really good feeling about today. Most people actually had a group from Reading, which took a bus to come and vote from 7 a.m. in the morning. Some people came 6 a.m. in the morning. So the excitement was there. And I think from today, what the diaspora is saying, that we can't wait for 2026, 2027. It means the diaspora is wanting to get engaged from today and tomorrow with the incoming government. They want to know, how can we make the next elections become the diaspora is the Tharaka Nithi. We want to feel that the 4 million votes that are in the diaspora, or potential votes in the diaspora, can actually be registered and happen. So I think we've taken the challenge. We've had the small start, but I think the future is bright for the diaspora as a voter.
Indeed, the future is bright. Vicky?
Yeah, thanks, Wahiga. Just listening into some of what they were talking about, of course, Professor Monda talking about how difficult it is for IEBC to implement diaspora voting on a broader scale, especially for a country like the United States. But, just to hear from all of them in the US and the UK, being so far away from the action, so to speak, campaigns are going on here months to voting day. And oftentimes what takes you to the ballot is a message resonates with you. You hear something in a manifesto or a campaign speech. How do you politically engage being so far away, at least physically, from where you are? And that's without kind of giving indications as to who you voted for.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. And some of our people have tried to try from far. We've not been coming from Scotland, which is